Today we're looking at trigonometric equations. The two questions that we've been asked to look at are the following. To solve each equation in the domain from 0 to 2 pi radians. And our first equation is cos x is equal to 0.34. Our second equation is that sine alpha is equal to -1 over the square root of 2. So let's have a look at our first question where cos x is equal to 0.34. This is the cosine curve as graphed from 0 to 2 pi radians. Now 0.34 is positive, therefore the solution is in the first and fourth quadrant. And we can see this when we graph the straight line of cos x is equal to 0.34. And you can see that it crosses the equation of cosine x in the first and the last quarter. So in our first quadrant, we're going to take cos x is equal to 0.34, and we're going to apply the inverse of the cosine. Now, arc cos is defined as the inverse of cosine function. Other notation that you may have seen represented is cos to the power of -1y. This is how you would have seen it on your calculator. Now when we put that into our calculator, we get 1.224 radians. And our value for x in the fourth quadrant, what we can use is the symmetry of the cosine graph. Now it is symmetrical about pi. You can see that the solution lies between 3 pi over 2 radians and 2 pi. We can use our value from the first quadrant to calculate x. All we have to do here is take 2 pi and subtract 1.224. This will give the value of 5.06 radians. On our next question, we're asked to solve each equation in the domain from 0 to 2 pi. Our question is to solve for alpha, where we have sine alpha is equal to -1 over the square root of 2. If we look at the sine curve as shown below, we can see that the negative solutions are going to be in both the third and fourth quadrant. So the first thing that we want to do is apply the inverse of sine to the value of -1 over the square root of 2. And in putting this into our calculator, we will get 45 degrees, or its equivalent of pi over 4 radians. Now in this first quadrant, all values are positive. However, we want to find where the solutions are negative. In the third quadrant, in order to find alpha, we're going to add pi plus pi over 4 radians, which putting them over a common denominator, we get 4 pi over 4 plus pi over 4, which gives us 5 pi over 4 radians. Now in the fourth quadrant, in order to find alpha, we're now going to subtract from 2 pi radians the pi over 4. So that will give us alpha is equal to 2 pi minus pi over 4 radians, which over a common denominator gives us 8 pi over 4 minus pi over 4, or 7 pi over 4 radians. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you found this video helpful.